All right, everybody, welcome to the weekly Facebook lead generation mastermind call. And these calls are short and sweet. What we're going to do is take what we've learned the previous week and kind of things that are important that people are talking about in regards to generating a lot of leads online. We're talking double-digit leads a day up to writing offers weekly, getting listings weekly from what we're talking about here. So this is a massive way to grow your business, right? We're not promising 32 new listings a week. We're not promising, 100 new buyers a week. What we are promising though is that working your way through this with us, that you will grow your business. You will have more listings. You will have more buyers. All right. People are doing it. People are getting it. And so every week we're going to do a short webinar like this and share with you the latest on what is going on. All right. So there's three things I'm going to talk about this week, two primary. One is the idea of pairing, and that is when you have a listing in a particular area, that you pair it with a property valuation landing page and ad campaign. The other thing, and I can't believe, going small. All right. So in particular with the listing landing pages, that you have a small potential reach segment on Facebook, that you're not advertising it to 2 million people. And then the third thing that we're going to cover today is open houses. I was with one of our clients, Kathy, last night talking on Facebook about how to run an advertisement for an open house. It's a great idea. People have been doing it. And so we're going to talk about that as well. So the idea of pairing, and this came up because, and you'll see it in that link that I already gave to you, and it was discussed here, but it's really come to the forefront even more, where when you have a listing, right, that you're advertising on Facebook, and then other people are doing the property valuation landing pages, as a one-off, they're fine, they're great. But when people are on Facebook and they see your ads in the newsfeed, on the mobile newsfeed, on the right-hand side, and the first ad they see is for one of your listings, and later on they see an ad for another listing, and later on they see an ad for a property valuation landing page. Cumulatively, they add up, and the sum is greater than the parts. So the ads all work together to help you generate more leads, because people are getting more and more comfortable seeing you, right, and seeing your brand on Facebook. And so instead of having a one-off property valuation landing page that you're advertising, that, like I said, it works well, right? There's nothing wrong with that. But to expand that reach, to expand the lead generation, pairing it up with a listing landing page is awesome. And so what came up this week is we're talking to some of our clients, and they had new listings in a new area, but they weren't running a property valuation landing page. And so when we told them about this, the light bulb went off in their head, and they're like, yeah, that's right. We want to make sure, because we know when people start seeing new listings in their particular area, it kind of kicks the trigger for other people. Oh, we're thinking about selling and under what our home is worth. And so by pairing a listing landing page here with a property valuation landing page, that really, like I said before, the sum of these is greater than the parts. And so let me get rid of this blinking Facebook message. And let's get back into listings to leads here. So I've got a listing in San Antonio, Texas. I will show you my listing landing page, and I'll actually run through putting it up on Facebook. Let's do that first. So I got a new listing. I got the listing landing page here. And this will let me show off what I'm talking about regarding going small, right? That potential reach. So I'm going to go create ad, clicks to website. I'll just paste in the URL. And that's a pretty big image. Oh, okay, great. So here's my image. That's going to be in the Facebook ad. Whether it's the front of the house, the back of the house, I can change this image very, very easily within listings to leads. I got my headline that will be below the image. So here's the headline here. And I'm going to leave that as it is. For the text, click to see the details And if it was just listed, I could say just listed like that. And again, and all of this is in the URL, is in our basic training. All right, so I'm not going to get into this a lot right this second. But so here's my ad. And what I want to really draw your attention to here is this potential reach. There was a client of ours who was doing this, getting no leads. And when she reduced her potential reach, I think it was like 1 or 2 million to about 30 to 50,000, she got 3 leads in 2 hours, right? We're talking like nothing for a few days. And then as soon as she reduced the potential reach, she got 3 leads in a couple of hours. Okay. I'm not talking a couple of days, 3 leads. I mean, like in 2 hours, she got 3 leads by just reducing that potential reach. And the reason is because, and let's say I'm in Seattle or San Francisco and I run an ad, and what you might do typically is say, all right, I'm in San Francisco. And so I'll just run, well, let's just say San Antonio. This listing is in San Antonio. So I'll show you what I mean. So there's San Antonio, Texas. I select it. Now the default is San Antonio plus 25 miles. Look at my potential reach. That's 1 million people. Probably about 1,100,000 people have no interest in this listing based on its location. All right, way, way too big. Right, you're lost in the noise at that point. So the first thing I can do is, let's bring that back up again. I meant to hit, there's a little down key, or a little down symbol, right? There's the X and there's the down symbol. The first thing you might try is just going, well, let's see what San Antonio brings up. That's 1.1 million. That's still way too many people. So I'm going to go for the zip code. And I'm going to go for actually a zip code that's not in San Antonio, but one that I know. So I'm going to delete San Antonio. This is too big. Way too many people. Let's see what this zip code brings up. Right? 8,000 people. All right. That's a lot better. I'm going to do a lot better with this ad when I'm only reaching 8,000 people. Now, I might add another zip code around there and maybe hover it, get it right around 30, at most 50,000, but maybe the 30,000 range for potential reach. So let's try, let's see what happens if I do 94132. Let's add another zip code. All right, now we're up to 19,000 people. And let's try 94133. Right. So now,
hey, Scott.
Yeah.
Let me throw some color in here, because not everybody on this call is in San Francisco or in San Antonio, where it's a large metropolitan area. Where this is really relevant, and the client that he's talking about that went from like no leads to all of a sudden leads, this is why this sort of drilling down on zip codes are important. Many of us are in towns with 20, 30, 40,000 people, right? Maybe it's 8,000, maybe it's 10. But if you've got, like, for instance, I'm in a place called Lafayette, okay? There's 20,000 people here. If my home is in Lafayette, there's only one zip code. And if I say 25 miles out of Lafayette, that could be a town 20 miles away called Pleasanton. And if somebody in Pleasanton sees an ad for a Lafayette home for sale, it may not be really a great fit, right? And especially when it comes to property valuations. What is my Lafayette home worth? Nobody in Danville, 15 minutes away, wants to see that. Nobody in Berkeley wants to see that. But that's what 25-mile radius does. So when you tighten that radius, just think about what your market is, what you're trying to achieve. There's certainly, I know you can say, well, I might want somebody in the next town to see my home for sale here, and you got to make that judgment call. But I think the overall point is, while over on the right-hand column it shows you, here's my potential reach, a broader reach does not mean higher lead generation. It means that it's actually a more diluted ad now. It's diluted by all those people that are going to see it because it's not so critical.
Yeah.
So there's a term that we all know called kind of hyper-local. It's not exactly that, but it's really taking a targeted area and really hammering on it by zip code with our multiple tools. Sorry.
Yeah, and here's Vince's Lafayette plus 25 miles, right? 1.14 million people. So let's take that, use the down symbol, and I'll just do, let's do Lafayette by 10 and see what happens. So, wow. So we went to 184,000, which is still too much, Let's try it again. Let's do Lafayette only. And now we're at 11,000. Much better. And so if this was a listing in Lafayette, maybe I look up another zip code and add it in there if I wanted to. But there's nothing wrong with the 11,400 people only seeing this ad. All right. So I think the key is making sure that your potential reach here on the right-hand side is not 500,000, 2 million, whatever it is. And maybe you're in an area where when you do it for your area, you're at like 900 or 1,000. Well, then increase it, work your way up adding relevant zip codes until you're at around like that 30,000 market. All right. All right. So since I'm here, I'll just run through it. Age, right? 22, 24, right? No use in having 13-year-olds clicking on your ad. For a listing landing page, I would not do any other of these at all. And again, we got videos in our basic training section on this that actually walk right through that. So for the listing landing pages, I would leave it alone. And then per day, $5. Maybe I bring that. One of the things that we also talk about is don't run one ad for $10. It's much better to run 2 or 3 ads or more, right? If I'm an agent with 30 listings, I would want to run all 30 listings at $2 to $3, right? Or maybe even $1 to $2 if I've got that many listings. And here's the thing: don't try to cherry pick your listings. You have no idea which listing is going to generate the best leads. There's no way you know that. We don't know that. I don't know that. Nobody knows which listing is going to generate the next best lead for us. So I highly recommend, if you're just starting, start with a couple, get your feet wet with it. But then as soon as you're comfortable with this, just do all your listings. Now, I could also do an end date, which I do recommend. And that way Facebook will send you a little email and it will say, hey, by the way, your ad is stopped. And that way you're not just 6 months later realizing, holy cow, I just ran an ad for like a year, right? So I'll run that one for 30 days. Optimized for clicks, place order, okay? That easy. So again, this walking through what we just walked through, you'll see information about how to do that right on this post here, right? Top agents and offices, the link is right here. For agents with 5 or fewer listings, there's it's a little bit different, but what I really wanted to highlight here is that potential reach, okay? So again, like Vince and I were just talking about, that client went from nothing to just in the first 2 hours after narrowing that potential reach, had 3 leads in 2 hours, all right? Any questions on potential reach? All right. Someone's asking about renters, just the same way as we're doing right here, right? Now, in the demographics, that's more like a property evaluation. There are we're talking here for a listing landing page. Now, if it is a rental, you could come down here and why am I not seeing? Oh, home, duh. You could say, well, I only want people that are renters. So if this is a rental, right, maybe I only want renters. And then I would bump up because I said potential reach is fewer than 1,000 people. So then I might bump it up to 10 miles, see what it looks like. That's 20,000. That's not bad. So 20,000 people within 10 miles that are renting would see that rental ad. All right. Okay. So I'm going to mobile newsfeed. Try it all. These are mobile responsive landing pages. I've had a lot of people say they get a lot of leads on mobile. I've had a few people say they got no leads on mobile. So I would try it with all of it. And then if you feel like, wow, I'm not getting anything via mobile, then you can turn mobile off. And again, that's going to be different in every area. Every area is different. But I've heard from enough people, and Vince, I think you have too probably, that people are getting quite a few leads off of mobile.
Totally. But you know what you could do would really help us? Would you pull up like a traffic report in listings to leads? Because I had this call yesterday with one of our office clients that said, hey, we're doing this ad on this particular home, and we're seeing a lot of click-throughs because Facebook is telling us click-throughs, but I'm not seeing the ads. right? I'm not seeing a lead. And what we actually went to the traffic report, not this one, go to the one on the e-flyer where you actually look at, what you would send a seller. And there's a place where we actually have a tool where you can download a traffic report here at the bottom right, and it shows you, like, here's how many ad views on a virtual tour you got. So what they're doing is they put up a single property website, and they could see the click-throughs, and they could tell, like, wow, we had a lot of people look at this on mobile, but we didn't get any click-throughs. And they were doing just the single property website. And the click-throughs are where a lot of lead capture happens, right? They're driving to their site. They want to let people look at homes in their area. So what Scott is saying is definitely true. You got to test it. Facebook gives you the option of putting it on the news feed, which is the center column of Facebook, on the sidebar, and mobile optimized. And our tools are mobile optimized, but in some areas, even though they look at the tool in mobile, they don't fill it out. And so you want to kind of look at it, and you can we looked at both of these, and we realized, well, you need to turn off that mobile because people are clicking, but you're not getting leads.
Yeah, yep. Yeah, and then I've had other people tell me they had 60% of their leads were from mobile. So it's, everywhere is going to be different. So I would start with doing mobile, and then as you look at your analytics, both here and in Facebook, and if you see the mobile just isn't converting, then turn it off. But yeah, like Vince said, everything is either mobile responsive or mobile optimized throughout the entire system here. All right. So the other thing we talked about is pairing. So if I've got a listing in San Antonio, let me scroll down to my listing here in San Antonio. So here's my listing in San Antonio, and let's say the neighborhood is Sierra Vista. So the neighborhood the listing is in San Antonio. It's got a San Antonio address, but it's in the Sierra Vista neighborhood. All right. What I want to do is I want to run a property valuation ad for those people in Sierra Vista. So I'm going to click on landing pages, property valuation, and I'm going to create, actually what I should have done, let's go back to the landing pages. Right in here, Sierra Vista, that's the name of the neighborhood, the subdivision. I'm going to hit save. And that's going to create 24 plus landing pages, right, in 2 seconds. If I click on property valuation, we'll see that I've got a Sierra Vista. If I scroll down right here, and I can see it. We got 5 versions, 4 default, and then there's a custom version that you can customize page 2. But I got 4 ready to go versions of this landing page. The 2-page version, 1-page version, the one where it autofills the location of the computer accessing the landing page, which is amazing. And then another 1-page version here. So I'm going to click this to view it. Now I can change the background image to something more like Sierra Vista. And again, we're doing this because if I've got a listing in Sierra Vista and people in Sierra Vista are going to see my listing, that's a perfect time to have a property valuation landing page also for Sierra Vista. All right, does that make sense to everybody? You guys kind of get that? So Eric says last 7 days leads were mostly mobile. That's awesome. Yeah, perfect. So let's run through putting this on Facebook. So let's go back and we'll leave this page. And I'll go back to my business page. All right, so I'm gonna go create ad. Create ad, there we go. Any comments or questions about the idea of pairing, right? When you've got a listing in a neighborhood. So Eric, and I'll just kind of use you because I know you've been around for a long time as a client, and Jim, you too maybe as well, right? Do you guys get that idea of pairing? So Eric, if you had a listing in a particular subdivision, right? So you have just listed in Clearwater Estates, that you'd want to create a property valuation for Clearwater Estates And we'll talk about postcards. In fact, I'll mention postcards in a little bit here. That if you want to send a postcard to to Clearwater Estates, but I definitely want to get a property valuation landing page to that same area. All right. So you can see here how it defaults into some text here. So the headline again is below the image, right? And see how it says 0? That means we've run out of room. So we're going to have to customize this a little bit. And so I'll do. Sometimes you got to play around with it. So I'll do Sierra Vista home values. Right, I'm back at 0 because you only get a little bit of text in the headline. And for some reason, the headline is below the image. Above it here, get the actual Sierra Vista home value with the free expert home valuation report. Right, newsfeed. Now, if you wanted to remove it from the mobile right column, whatever, you can always hit the removes here. But again, I would say just run it. And I'm going to talk about an actual different kind of thing to put up here next, but that's a nice default. So again, I'm going to X out United States, and I would only put the zip code that Sierra Vista is in, right? I don't want more people outside of Sierra Vista to see this, right? So there could be, 30,000 people, 15,000 here in 94131, right? And Sierra Vista, we're pretending is inside of this zip code inside of the city. Only 8,000 people are going to see it. That's fine. That's perfect. Not a problem. I'm going to go age. Right. Again, I don't want, a 13-year-old in Sierra Vista to see this ad. Now, here's where the more demographics will come into play. A lot more than on the listing landing page. So under home, I'm going to go to home type, and I'm going to do single family. Now, if you got condos in the area, in fact, if anyone's here going after condos, we can talk about that in the Q&A. More demographics, home ownership. I don't want renters here. I just want homeowners to see it. More demographics, home value. When I was a real estate agent, I was at Sotheby's, Coldwell Banker, and I don't know, my market, the high-end homes can take a long time to sell, right? I love them, but they take a long time to sell. The sellers are typically a lot more demanding. You spend more money marketing them. So I always wanted low-end homes as well as high-end homes. I wanted a nice mix of different homes for sale. If you wanted to say only want people above a certain home value, you can do that here. But for me, maybe just check off everything above a particular amount, right? I don't want the super low end if you have any in that neighborhood, but that's how you can do that there. You can even do income, which again, here's the thing. Most rich people don't have income. Okay. So we can do financial, we got net worth, but then a lot of people that make a lot of money don't have a lot of net worth. So again, I wouldn't do that because that's just such an imprecise measurement of anything. All right. To be honest, I would just leave that alone. Maybe you got someone with no income and no net worth, but because they got laid off and they need to sell in the next 2 months and they are the perfect listing candidate, but you would never find them because you put income above 100,000 because you're going after a millionaire. And so you miss out on some of the best leads, right? Same with net worth. So to be honest, I would leave those alone. But if you want to play with them, go ahead. You can do that. Now, remember we talked about putting an ending date on the listing landing page? And there's more, we get really more into that in the training, right? In the training post I already pointed out to you and I gave you a little earlier. This is one where people typically let it just run, okay? Now, you might say, I want to do an end date, but I'm going to do it for 2 months out. Just I think instinctively, I like to know that, hey, you know what? I don't want to let this thing run for 5 years. So I am going to put an end date for 2 months. Facebook will give me a notification and it will say, hey, your ad for Sierra Vista property valuations is ending, and you'll have more than enough time to go in there and you can extend that ad, no problem. But at least you know that, hey, you know what? This thing is going to stop at some point and I can just renew it, kind of like a domain with GoDaddy or your domain registrar. right? That you can renew that domain, you can renew this ad campaign anytime you want, all right? At $5 a day, right? Sierra Vista, 8,000 people, or in this case now 1,800. You'll never reach $5 a day, right? I'll cap it out at $3. I probably won't even reach $3 a day. If a potential reach of 1,800 people, you'd be lucky to hit $1 or $2 a day probably. All right, but that's perfect, not a problem, because I want to generate listing leads over the next 2 months, right? Versus over the next 3 days. So it's a nice low kind of thing there. And again, if I got 5 listings in 5 different areas, then I'd want to run a property valuation ad campaign for those 5 areas. And I want to keep my budget, right? I don't want to go crazy on my budget until I start really getting contracts in and I got listings coming in. Then I can increase my ads. I can increase my budget a little bit more. So I'm going to keep it low, right? I am a cheap person and I like to keep my expenses low. So in place order, all right? Someone says, how does someone seeing the valuation ad associate with more listings? Because it is branded, right? Let me show you. You see where it says listings to leads right there? That will be your fan page, would be right there, right? So whatever that image is on Facebook you've got will show, and your business page will show right there. And so as people are seeing that over and over again, right? Jim, I'll pick on you. Jim, right? You got like, let's just say 10 listings. So if you're running a listing landing page ad for your 10 listings, let's say they're in 4 areas. So I've got 4 property valuation landing pages. I'm only spending, a couple of dollars a day on each. People are going to see Jim's stuff all day long. All right. And then they're going to see, like I said, oh, he's got a listing here. And then I see later on a property valuation landing page there. And I see another listing here. And I see a property valuation landing page the next day. And so it's that advertising marketing 101 that as people just see you more and more, and they see that you're an expert more and more, they're more likely to do business with you more and more. All right. All right. Thanks, Dave. Appreciate that fact. What are the quality of Facebook leads versus Google? You can do all of this on Google, but people are killing it. They're writing contracts, they're getting listings, they're closing listings from the lead generation they're getting off of this. They are blowing up their business. And I'm not going to sit here and promise you 32 contracts or 32 listings in 30 days. What I am going to promise you is what most of our clients tell us is they actually get so many leads that they've got to make sure that their lead follow-up, which we'll cover in a little bit, is dialed in. All right. So,
hey, Scott.
Yes.
Scott, let me throw something in there, because I do talk to a lot of people, and they talk about Google and Craigslist ads or leads and these. And what Scott's saying is totally right in terms that these are just somehow they're just a higher quality lead. A lot of folks for many years were using Craigslist. They were getting a ton of leads, not really turning into business. I talked to a lot of offices that use Google pay-per-click from their website vendors like, I don't know, Market Leader and other companies like that are driving leads back to them for a few $100 a month, but they're actually they don't fit the business that they're in, right? So when you're taking your ad, your listing, your tools, and putting it in front of the market that you're targeting, meaning a zip code, you're actually able, it's pretty close to being qualified. They actually fit where you're working. And in Google, you can't do that. It's basically the result or the fact that you get picked up is based on their search. It doesn't matter where they are. So there is a higher sort of conversion here, and that's what Scott's speaking to. When we had the call last week with Melanie Banks, sure, she's generating 150, 200 leads a month, but she's actually getting 1 to 2 listings a week, and also getting 1 to 2 new buyers in contract every week. And that's a very big difference in just generating X number of leads off of Google.
Yep, exactly. So a little earlier I said I was going to show you an alternate text. So this is kind of like a little mini market report. And again, we go through this in the basic training. And you see here I put 17 Sierra Vista homes sold in August. This affects your home's value. Get your home value And you see, I only got one, so I got to figure out a little bit of a way to kind of you got to kind of figure out how to make it work best for you. But the essence is, I've got the first sentence here: 17 homes sold in August. This is giving some really good information to people, right, in Sierra Vista that are going to see this ad, right? This is something that's going to capture their attention. Oh, 17 homes sold last month. Okay, it deals with them individually as a homeowner, right? This is information that's really good for them. So that first sentence does great for that. The second sentence, that really starts to get their attention now because it says this affects your home's value, right? So now we're not scaring them, but we are getting their attention that, hey, your home's value has changed, right? And then the third sentence is the solution, right? The action item that we want them to do. Get your home value, right? Again, depending on your location name, sometimes they're longer, sometimes they're shorter. You got to kind of tweak the actual wording of these three sentence ideas so that they fit in the limited amount of space Facebook gives you. But this is another great kind of ad text, right? This is the text box to run above your image, all right? And again, I kind of call this like a little tiny mini market report ad for that location. So, again, Eric, maybe you've got a location called Clearwater Estates. So you just look up in the MLS, 5 homes sold in Clearwater Estates last month. So you might have 5 homes sold in Clearwater Estates last month. This affects your home's value. Find yours now, or something like that, right? So kind of play with it a little bit based on the text available that Facebook is going to give you. But that's another real nice kind of, again, what I call like a mini market report ad campaign for that location. Does that make sense to everybody? All right. If the customer base is, the customer base is not Western Canada. I mean, that'd be like saying the customer base is Western United States. So again, you just, and every area is different, right? So Barry, you got to just kind of start with something and then kind of watch it. And then, but I'm just going to tell you, the more further out you expand, the worse it's going to be 9 times out of 10. So I would have one ad for Saskatchewan, one ad for Manitoba, one ad for Vancouver, right? What those specific areas within there. Now I could do what is your Saskatchewan home worth now? I think Saskatchewan is the province. Vince, is that right? I think. And then this, or is that the city? But I guess my point is, hey, that'd be like me doing what is your California home worth now, right? That is so general and if I ran into all of the people in California, I'd just sit there and I'd waste my money all day long. I'd most likely get nothing from it, right? Now, I would think on one side of me, I'd think, oh wow, I'm gonna market to everybody in California, but it's actually the opposite because I don't live in. I live where I live. I live in California, sure, but I'm interested in Folsom home values. I'm interested in Sierra Vista home values. I'm not that interested in California home values, right? Unless I'm watching CNN and they're just giving me a market update nationwide type of thing. All right. So always stay local with this kind of stuff. All right. The last thing I'm going to mention real quickly here is open houses. So if you've got an open house, that's a great thing to advertise. And so you'll see, let me just scroll down here a little bit. I just took the listing landing page. I mean, you can, and all of these things, especially that kind of like that mini market report, just make a great business page post, right? So it's a great kind of ad to run, but it's also just a great post to put up here. But you can, if you have an open house this weekend, right, advertise it like that, and here's kind of my text: open house at Sweetwater Condos in Merle's Inlet, South Carolina this Sunday. Notice I didn't put the time. I didn't put 2 to 4, right? She's using the listing to leads listing landing page here. It says click for open house information at Sweetwater Condos this Sunday. You click on it. Here in the property description, she just put that it's open from 2 to 4. And now I can get the current price, photos, right? More information, and you get a lead, okay? Super, super simple. Now, let me show you, for the property valuation landing pages, this is what the email looks like that you get. So this is the lead notification email, and there's an image. It tells you the follow-up, what to do. So read that. If you've not read that before, read it. But the idea is, especially for the property valuations, first of all, is it listed already? So I look here, and if I see that it's on Zillow and Trulia as a active listing, then I'm just going to delete it and not worry about it. Probably, right? You don't want to be going after another agent's listing. But if it looks good and I see a map and that's in my area, then I would prepare a CMA and get that off to them and follow up per the information in the email. Let me go back to the email. Okay. Now, for a listing lead, a lead off of one of your listings, the listing landing page, the leads that come in, put them into your new listing alert for homes similar to that one that they came in on, and then also put them in your CRM under a buyer drip, right? You don't need, if you want to call them up, if you got a great script for calling them, fine. But the idea is drop it. And if you're a top producer or wise agent, we auto import automatically into both of those. Those other CRMs where there's an email that works for that, but get it into the CRM under a buyer drip and get them into your listing alert system, whether it's your website or your MLS or some other type of system that you may have, and just let new listings drip on them for the listing lead, for the leads coming in off the listing landing page. All right. All right, so here's a question I kind of like. So I have 8 active listings. How often should I run a unique property listing? Well, you'd run both, right, Jill? So you would run both. So Jill, let's use you as an example here. You have 8 active listings. How many areas are those? Does that represent? Like, are they in 8 different areas, 3 different areas, 2 different areas? 2, perfect. So I would run the listing landing page for each one of them, for each one of those listings. You got 8 of them, maybe $2 each, right? So $2 a day. So let's bring up the listing landing page. So here's my listing landing page. I'm going to just do $2 a day because I got 4 listings in that area. Then I would run 2 property valuation landing pages, one for each of those areas, right? Make sure I'm targeting the potential reach, right, for those 2 areas, so that I got 4 listings in one area, 4 listings in another area. The people in area 1 are going to see those 4 listings and the property valuation landing page for that area 1. The other 4 listings in area 2 and the property valuation ad for area 2 will be seen by those people in area 2. All right. Does that make sense, Jill? Does that answer your question? All right. So Shannon, Shannon, if you got market snapshot with top producer, that is awesome, right? I mean, even for the property valuation landing page leads, we give you all the information on the follow-up right in the email. But if you got something like Market Insider from Market Leader, if you've got market snapshot with top producer, exactly, I would put them in there as well. And then also, here's the thing. A lot of MLSs, I shouldn't say a lot, a number of MLSs do have where they will send you sold listings and even new listings, right? If I requested a property valuation for my home in Sierra Vista, I would not be mad as a homeowner to get new listing alerts for my neighborhood, right? For only my neighborhood. Don't send me new listing alerts for, the neighborhood next to mine, because you're just going to annoy me. But set me up for a weekly email so that I can see all new listings. And if you got the ability to show the pendings and the solds, set me up as a homeowner, as a listing lead for new listings and solds and pendings, right? A weekly email like that. Does that make sense? So even for your listing leads, set them up for a listing alert. Now, whereas the buyer lead would be like immediate, like as soon as that listing becomes available, send them that information, because as a buyer, it's very important that I see that information right away. If I'm a seller, if I'm a homeowner, I don't want to get 20 emails from you every week. Just send me 1 email a week with what's going on in that. And you can typically, the MLS or even your website maybe will have that capability. All right. Okay. The webinar part of this is done. We've covered the idea of going small with potential reach. So making sure your potential reach isn't too big, because again, you're just going to waste money 9 times out of 10 if your potential reach is too big. We recommend around 30,000, maybe up to 50,000 at most, but keep that potential reach narrow. And if it's only 10,000, don't don't think that that's a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. It's very targeted, right? The more relevant and targeted your ad, the better. We talked about pairing, making sure that when you have a listing in area X, that you've got a property evaluation landing page for area X. And then I also talked a little bit about the open house, running an open house ad using the listing landing page. All right.
Hey, Scott.
Yes.
Scott, there's a good question here from Barbara, who's got a good amount of listings.
Yeah, I see that.
And one thing you should show them is just our listing, our e-flyer section and Facebook section. There, our core stuff, even before our clients started taking off at pay-per-click advertising on Facebook, is designed to capture leads for free. It's just these tools right here can be sent out, put on Facebook. They're designed to go to your clients. So Barbara out there has got a fair amount of listings in these target markets where she's focusing on. These are meant to be shared by your clients. They represent you. They're representing the home, obviously. And they have multiple hyperlinks driving back to your lead capture. Now, if you've got anywhere, even like 5 to 10 listings, there are multiple flyers for each tool. And you're able to say just listed. And with that reach, you're getting in front of a couple of hundred people, sometimes 200 to 500 people, the friends and family of your clients. That's really great for building a referral and really great for finding buyer leads. So when you're reaching out on a property valuation to get a listing lead, you've got to use a zip code pay-per-click. That's bare minimum. But when you've got core free tools like this, it already has a message saying, "Dear friends, I'm working with Barbara, and she's got an open house. This is just listed." And we automatically give you those tools. You get those out. Even when they're under contract or just sold, they've got your contact information. They're congratulating you. This is a great way to get in front of Facebook with free advertising, with free tools. So when we set up offices, we really do focus a lot on the free stuff.
Yeah.
Certain agents will get up and going on pay-per-click because they don't have many listings, so they got to really get broader reach.
Yep.
So don't forget about that.
Yeah, oh yeah, totally. And Barbara, what I would do is I would start with maybe one area, maybe an area where you got 4 or 5 listings, and just start with that, right? So do like $2 to $3 a day on 5 listings, or maybe $2 a day for 5 different ads for the listings, and then 1 property valuation for $2 to $3 a day. And so just start with the idea is just start with a few listings to get your feet wet with it. As you start seeing the leads coming in, make sure your follow-up is dialed in, right? Make sure you're able to handle the leads because you're going to start getting leads, and then expand it to the rest of your listings kind of gradually, right? It's like working out, right? You don't want to go, 200% on your first workout in a year. You want to work up to it. And I'm just telling you, this lead generation, getting it dialed in for you, handling the follow-up, right? And then increasing it, right? So I guess that's maybe a nice 3-step, and even for agents, and this is for offices as well, right? Get comfortable doing it, and so that you are generating leads, that you are handling the follow-up and got that dialed in, and then expand it to all 38 listings. Okay, Barbara, does that answer your question for you? Okay, so someone says, someone's talking about Market Snapshot getting opened up and a few other things. This is a numbers game, right? And so there's a lot of different things, and we're going to actually start a Facebook Mastermind Facebook group here pretty soon, where we can hope to share more of these ideas. But don't get freaked out on a particular lead that's not responding to you, right? It's a numbers game, right? Now, there's different things that people do that can resuscitate a cold lead, or maybe leads that are in their database that you can do. But don't freak out because I got a particular lead that, hasn't responded to anything because, again, it's a numbers game, right? You're just getting people into your system. Make sure you're sending them things of interest, right? If they're not open to Market Snapshot, maybe prepare a nice email about the area and send it to all the leads, buyer and seller leads in that particular area about events that are going on, right? We've got an awesome, in fact, I'll show you here. Let me go to Active Rain. And let me show you like our market report, like Market Snapshot. Let me see if I can bring up one of my market reports because these actually work really well also. This is more of an advanced thing and we're not going to get into it today, but let me, how do I always go, recent post? No, it's going to show everyone's. Noe Valley homes for sale and sold. Here we go. So this is a market report out of listings to leads, right? And this is really cool. These things generate leads and a lot of SEO for our clients, right? I don't know, you'll be hard pressed to find a market report like this. And this is the eFire looks exactly like this. This is the blog post version. There's a market report website, right? So I can say, let's click to see the full report. And here's the market report website. A lot of lead generation all through this thing, right? I can follow this home. I can get this home's details, right, all the way through. So so there's just different things that you can do to try to get those leads sometimes to reach out to you. But like I said, we are getting people reporting back to us that they are writing offers and contracts weekly, right? They're getting new listings regularly from this. So, just keep your eyes on the big picture there. Which landing page you use for a home that is not just listed? Here's the thing. These landing pages will change, right? So active, right? So when a listing goes from just listed to active, it's the exact same landing page, but we just changed just listed to for sale. And then later, here, I'll show you here. So let's say this listing goes to pending, right? So you get the email, and in the email you click and make it pending. You never log into the account. You just make it pending. Right here, I'm going to log in. I'm going to change it to pending. But watch this landing page. This will change to pending automatically. And then same when it's just sold, right? So again, once the listing is sold, I get an email. And in the email, I just click the link, change it to sold. You never have to log into your account or anything, but I just happen to be in here, so I'm going to do it from here. And now that it's JS, just sold, watch the landing page. It'll change to just sold. Okay? Yes, you can add other people's listings for sure. So if you get permission from somebody, if you got a good relationship with them, you might ask them because you want an image that's 1900 pixels or wider, right? So you get the full screen, mobile responsive virtual tour. Maybe if they're not going to give you, at least one of the images that's that large, go out in front of the home, take a picture of the home so that you got a nice big photo and use that, right? Because if you don't use the big photos, you get that other, and you'll see it in the write-up for the basic training of this, that if you don't have a large photo, you get kind of like the regular landing page. You don't get the big mobile responsive version. All right. Okay. Was the market report an L2L generated report? Yes. Create manage market report. Create new market report. And let me put the link in here for you. I have not done a webinar on this in so long, which is bad on me. But here is this can take a little while to do the first time, but I tell you, it is awesome. Let me see if I can find one in my email. I'll show you what the eFire looks like. I'm not going to waste a lot of time on it, but if I can find one of my, here we go. Yep, there it is. Let's go back. Right, so here's that market report e-flyer. Imagine sending this to your database, right? So whoever had that question about, well, the non-opening market snapshot, a lot of times those things are rote, they're templated, they just look, they don't look that great necessarily. Something like this, though, right? This is part of our template about talking about the most expensive home, the least expensive home. People really like these things, right? They got the images right there, right? They're clickable, so you click and it goes right to that page in the market report website, right? Does that answer your question there? So I put the link in there for you, for the person that asked that question there. All right. Realty Juggler does have an email, and I'm sure a few other CRMs do, where you can drop the email into your profile and listings to leads, and the leads automatically import into Realty Juggler. Okay, so we don't have a thing with them, but Realty Juggler, and I'm sure there's other CRMs that will give you this. Like, I don't even know how it works. You have to ask them, but they'll give you an email address to use with your lead providers like us, and when the lead comes in on the email, then it drops right into the CRM automatically. But get with them about how that works. I don't know anything. I've never talked to Realty Juggler, but I do know that they've got that kind of a tool. All right. Any other questions? Let me just go back to, and for those of you that have been clients for a while, you'll notice that we have changed. When you click on See Landing Page, you now see it's a little bit more clear. If I click See Explanation about differences in the property valuation landing pages here, you'll see a little write-up on all the different versions. I can change home to condo, right? I can add unit. No, I can add a unit number and make it required, right? So here I got, what is your Noe Valley condo worth now, right? In fact, we're talking about buildings before, right? So any of you that have condo buildings in your area, like in San Francisco, they're south of Market, but oh man, within south of Market, there are $1 million condo buildings and there are $500,000 condo buildings, and that's a big difference. And so I would actually do a condo building name, right? So on the landing page dashboard, I would do, somebody give me a condo building name in their area. So somebody, if anyone here in an area where you got buildings, like a nice, like Toronto or Vancouver, Seattle, San Francisco, I'm kind of blanking. So someone give me a name of a Sutton Place. Perfect. So Sutton Place is a condo building. So I put in Sutton Place. I save it. I go to property valuation. I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to click on edit. And here I can change, right? That's obviously not a condo building, so I definitely want to change that. And what is your Sutton Place right here? Condo. And I'm going to scroll down a little bit more. And if I'm in Canada, I'll use the Canadian version, include unit apartment field, and make it required. And I'm going to save it. And now I'll scroll down one more time and let's view it. Right? What is your Sutton Place condo worth now? Unit number is right there. It's required. And that way, when I run an ad, because here's the thing, right? And this is for everybody. Think about this. So, Dave, the zip code for Sutton Place, let's say it's 94131. Now, I can't really target it very well to only people in Sutton Place, but even though I'm going to run it for 94131, which is the zip code the Sutton Place condo building is in, 99% of the people that click that ad, because the ad's going to say Sutton Place on it, it's going to have an image of the Sutton Place building, are going to be people that live in Sutton Place. All right. So that's how I would do that. And then that way my listings in Sutton Place also, right? Now, we want everybody around to see that one. So we've got listings in Sutton Place that we're advertising, and then we've got a property valuation ad. So all those people in Sutton Place in particular are going to see my ads, and they're going to land on this, and they're going to see, to put the address in there, put the zip code, bam, off and running. All right. Okay. Any other questions?
Hey, Scott, can you tell everybody where this video is going to be? I know we're recording it, but I know the question keeps popping up.
Yeah, well, I'll put it on the property valuation. The property valuation. Listen to me. I'll put it on the Facebook fan page for sure. I will also put it in the support, in our support center. If you go to our support center here, and we'll create a post kind of summarizing what we covered here. And in fact, what I'll do, Vince, what we should do is put a new topic like this for Facebook Mastermind. So we'll put a Facebook Mastermind section, and we'll put this video under there.
Good idea.
Yep, perfect. All right. So for no, someone's asking about providing. Now you'd have to do that. There's no way we would know the market reports. Yeah, I mean there is. I mean you can under the edit section if you wanted to. I can edit the autoresponder. But yeah, what I would do is I would just drop them into your CRM and have that market report in your CRM, to be honest with you. That's where I would do that. Because here's the thing. You don't want your leads in 6 different programs. That's just really, really bad, right? You're going to start double dripping on people. Your branding is all over the place now. So we don't want leads sitting inside of listings to leads. We want leads in your primary CRM. All right. That's why we integrate with Top Producer, with Wise Agent. Other CRMs have that email capability. And so we want these leads in your primary CRM that is so much more powerful than any type of program like ours could ever be. Okay. So we want those leads to get into your CRM as fast as possible. And then for that type of thing, someone's asking about, well, what about a market report? So I would set that up as part of your seller campaign. Okay. So Rhonda, hopefully that will help you with that. Someone says, I love listings to leads because it goes into Top Producer. Larry, I hope you love listings to leads for more than just that, but I'll take what I can get, I guess. All right. Any other last minute questions before we leave? All right. Please note on Monday, this is a weekly call. Like today, we will cover what we're going to cover in the first 30 minutes. We will hang out for another 30 minutes to answer any kind of questions and, what have you. On Mondays, weekly, we will be doing a 30-minute webinar on just kind of the basic tools, the e-flyers, the virtual tours, the single property websites, right? That kind of stuff will be on Mondays. And again, it'll be 30 minutes. I'll hang out for another 30 minutes to answer questions. But we'll cover what we're going to cover in 30 minutes so that we're not wasting time talking about our families and showing you pictures that are irrelevant, that don't matter, just getting to the information. All right. Thanks, Larry. Appreciate that. All right. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. We'll talk to you soon. If you have not yet gone to our fan page and left us a comment or joined it, we love hearing from everybody. So I'm going to just put that fan page URL in here. Go to our fan page, leave us a comment. We love hearing from you. And if you ever have any questions, just hit contact support in your account. We'll help you out. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks, everybody. Have a great afternoon. Talk to you soon.